Yeah, it said that it's only marginally
Like
better.
I can't believe, like I still, yeah. Well, the crazy thing is you can't change your inputs or outputs. Like, it just kind of it defaults to my AirPods, but I would really like to be able to use the mic on the phone if I could. But
Hmm.
there's no way to do it in Discord. Other apps can do it. Whatever.
Yeah, I don't know, what's up with Discord with that. I mean, you think their whole thing is supposed to be optimizing voice
Yeah.
calls. Like, why wouldn't they get that
Yeah.
done?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, unless it's a really hidden, obscure button somewhere, but it's bizarre. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you can find it, but just don't disconnect me.
Yeah.
she's taking a look. Are we live?
Yeah, we're live. We're on right now. I
All
could
right,
do the intro. Welcome to Game
here we
Central Junction, everyone. As always,
go.
I'm your host, the Metal, and joining me is my co-host, Marsupial Gamer. We're here to talk about games and other peripherals, toys, collectibles, whatever comes up in that general category.
Yeah. And as usual, I'm starting the show from car, or I'm sorry, from my partner's car.
Yeah. It's become the norm at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Almost there. I'll be there in five minutes.
And while he's trying to get here,
But I
anybody
had
watching, you want to share out the show, do us a favor, grow the audience, whether it's live or sometime in the future. And if you happen to really enjoy the show, you can always give a donation to streamlabs.com/vomitorium live.
I was going to say there was a lot of stuff on Monday that I was kind of chomping at the bit to talk about, but I was like,
Wrong show.
oh, I know, I got to wait till Thursday.
Yeah.
So, no, I can't remember any of them. So,
See, that's
you'll
we
have
should
to.
have just dropped them in the bulletin board. That's where they
Oh, yeah,
belong. Yeah, we've
that's
got a
true.
bulletin board just for that.
Yeah. But I think one of them was that I mentioned at the end of the show was the new game by Game Freak that is not Pokemon. Surprise, surprise.
Not that surprising, honestly. They've been
Well,
making other games for a long time now. It's just
yeah,
all of their games are kind of crap, so nobody pays attention or remembers them.
yeah. I don't know. This one I saw initially on Asmongold's channel, and he thought it looked great. It's not exactly my kind of game. It's a bit of kind of like Elden Ring, or I don't know if it's. Oh, maybe it's closer to like Devil May Cry. I'm not sure what the gameplay's like. But looks good to me.
Yeah, it was the Beast of Reincarnation.
Right. That's it. Looks like all these other AAA games.
Yeah, it doesn't look that appealing to me, honestly.
I'm not as familiar with them, so all I can go on is graphics. It looks beautiful, but
I think the graphics are actually the thing that make it not that appealing to me.
really, the main character when they zoomed in, she looked beautiful. Wasn't there
Yeah,
like
the
an Asian
character
woman?
model looks great, and even some
Yeah.
the models of the enemies and stuff look good. I don't know. I'm just not that into that kind of hyper realistic world look. It always kind of turns me off of games.
But yeah, like I said, it's not my kind of game either. It's just it looks gorgeous to me. I'm not gonna buy it, but for anyone who does like so.
This was
I prefer
announced a long time back. It was called Project Bloom. At the time, we covered it when it was first announced. We had no idea what type of game it was going to be. All we got was like a teaser image and a stock text title, but we now know what the game is in this Beast of Reincarnation.
Right. That's all I know about it.
Yeah.
Graphics are good. Gameplay sucks. No, I don't know. I don't actually know anything about it beyond that.
You haven't seen too much about it either.
Yeah, not a lot. I was just kind of surprised because I wasn't quite as aware of the other non-Pokemon Game Freak games. So I was like, what? Game Freak? That's weird.
Yeah. Well, they made... Usually if they don't make something that's Pokemon, it doesn't end up on a Nintendo system. Or if it does later. With the exception of their 2019 game, Little Town Hero, which I believe launched on Nintendo as well.
Hmm.
And that's a turn-based RPG. It's not a very good one, but it's a turn-based RPG. The whole thing about Little Town Hero is that it's like a defense RPG where almost like a board game. There's a bunch of nodes in the town, and there'll be like a big monster attacking, and you have to like move from node to node and try to stop the monster from attacking. Some nodes will give you bonuses or whatever, and if you defeat him like before he encroaches on like important parts of the town, you get rewards or whatever. I didn't like it. The gimmick didn't do much for the game, and then if you took the gimmick out of this like whole almost board gameplay, the actual like combat in the RPG wasn't that good.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll be interested. I'll probably be interested to see gameplay of it whenever it comes out. But yeah, I actually prefer some of like Dragon Quest where the characters are all have a black outline. They're very cartoony.
Yeah.
Man, I hope DQ12 is like that. I hope they don't go with like realistic looking characters.
Yeah, like I'm fine for high fidelity or anything, but like I want the world to feel lively in a way that like real life doesn't. Like
Yeah.
Like the Breath of the Wild's environment is amazing. I that's what I want from a game.
Breath of the Wild, yeah, the cell shaded, the modern cell shaded. It's funny because like
but
when I
you
first
still
heard,
get those like crisp individual blades of grass, but they don't look like real grass. And... Oh, hey Tim, join us in the chat. What's up? Oh, we're just talking about stuff, same old, same old. We were talking about Game Freak's new non-Pokemon announced game. Which, I don't know, maybe it'll do better than their other stuff. Back in 2015, they had a big flop. That was Tembo the Badass Elephant. Which, even the name of the game already sounds like Nintendo's not going to put this on their system. It was primarily on PlayStation, I think. Maybe it was also on Xbox. But it was pretty much just like, the Rambi missions from Donkey Kong Country? It was like that, but with an elephant, and that was the whole game. Wasn't very good. Let's see, it's been a long time since you caught the show. Hey, well, it's nice to see you around. Yeah. But the new one, I honestly cannot tell what kind of game it's supposed to be, other than like my brain assumes it's going to be some type of Elden Souls game. It visually looks like that. Maybe it could be closer to Stellar Blade, which is kind of like if I put the Souls games and Devil May Cry on two different ends of action combat. Stellar Blade's kind of like right in the middle of the two, the median of the spectrum. And if that's the case, maybe I'd be more interested. I think Stellar Blade's combat's pretty fun. It's got some interesting combos, and there's some crazy things you can do with it. But I don't think I'm too interested if Game Freak's deciding to make their own like Souls game. Try to make another Conquer game, dude. I would love if Rare would make another Conquer game. I remember, what was it called? Conquer Live and Reloaded, which was mostly a multiplayer game for Xbox 360, but they had a ported, like a redo version of the original Conquer game in the multiplayer game as well. So you could just ignore the online multiplayer and you could just go play this like HD redo of Conquer. And that was pretty good because the controls in the original Conquer were ass and they weren't in Live and Reloaded. So actually, I think that's the only version of Conquer worth playing, even if I liked the graphical style of the original a little bit more. Hey, Fizzjozo. Tim brings up Devil May Cry had a cool game you could play on your phone. Yeah, Devil May Cry Peak of Combat. I did a review for that back when it was in beta. It was a pretty fun game. It's just like, I don't know. Maybe if I had a controller for my phone, I would have went back to playing it. But that is not the type of game you want to play on your phone, especially if you want to get into like the crazy Devil May Cry combos. More so, you want to play that on PC or something, but they never had a PC port. The best you could do was emulate it. Even if you went to their website and like download for PC, they would just emulate or download LD player onto your computer, and then you had to go and get the APK for it. I was like, that's stupid. I don't want to do that. And that's how they lost to me. I haven't heard from Marsupio in a while. I'm guessing. Yeah, we lost him. He'll be back in. He was probably switching over.
I always forget that the instant I get to the house, my audio turns off.
Yep.
It's ridiculous.
Every time.
Every time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, good. Then you didn't hear me, making all kinds of crazy noises. I don't know.
I don't know.
All good.
It could have been interesting.
I was like whispering because I didn't want to interrupt you, and then realized he couldn't even hear me. So
No, that's the only reason I kept going is because I couldn't hear you. It's like I got to fill the air,
Yeah, and I'm getting set up on my computers.
Mm-hmm. Make another loaded game? Maybe. I don't think Rare is going to be making much at all. I don't think anyone's going to be making any of their old games. I just,
Rare is the one's doing Metroid Prime 4, right?
No.
Oh, who are they give?
Retro Studios.
Retro. I always confuse Rare and Retro.
No. Rare's owned by Microsoft these days.
Oh, right.
The last good thing they made was Killer Instinct 2013, which ran for like a decade, I think. They kept doing seasons and everything.
Yeah.
And then they also made a really bad Battletoads game, which made people not want another Battletoads game.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, I got something cool for you, I guess. You want some good news?
Sure.
Fantasy Life has officially passed 1 million copies sold. The new one.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And there'll be a new update that improves the graphics for the Switch 2.
Yeah, and it's not.
Yep.
It was only going to be like $3 or $4.
Yeah. And an improved
That's
camera
awesome.
that everybody's been asking for.
Oh, thank God. Thank God. That thing, I mean, it drives me nuts because, like, and normally I'm pretty laid back about that kind of stuff, but
Yeah.
holy crap, it I'm like pushing and pushing. I'm like, move, you stupid camera. And I'm like, why
what is
won't
this?
it go?
An N64
Like-
game?
It won't go down far enough. I'm like, so like they're forcing it into a top-down game, but I'm like, this is a 3D. I want to move down because you can't see very far. Like I want to see ahead of me as I'm going
Yeah.
across the plains, and I'm like, you can see like 10 feet in front of you because the camera's locked to this overhead position, and I'm like,
Yeah, if
why?
you're gonna lock the camera to overhead like that, you should pull out more, and
Yeah,
also lock the orientation of the map too, so that like
yeah.
north is always north. Then you can have a top-down game.
Well, that I figured out. So
Yeah.
I remember I was able to lock the map to.
Oh, I'm not talking about the mini map. I mean lock the
Oh,
orientation of the actual map you're playing on to where north is
oh
always, if you're
yeah,
gonna do top-down. That way, so it's not like spinning around. You're like, which way am I walking again? You know.
yeah. But
But
I
the
have
game is
more to say
obviously
on that.
not
But
built to be a top-down game because they have like this full 3D environment.
yeah, give me 1 second. I'm
Mhm.
switching.
And never pull out always when it is a top-down game. Okay, I need to not have myself split up like this. There's a problem every time he has to hop out. It destroys my camera setup. There we go. And see, Tim says, even I know what you're talking about. Nintendo 64 always had weird angles. They did. And it was only because it was new, right? 3D was new to everyone. And having a camera follow you around instead of just being like a flat plane your characters were moving on, it was new to everyone. They had no idea what the hell they were doing. And you did, like, the idea of a second joystick didn't even exist yet. You had, like, if you want to crank the camera around, you had to hit these C buttons. So they basically had to make fixed points around you where the camera could be, or at least they thought so. I mean, you probably could have made it more incremental and let you hold the C button down or something like that. But that's not how anybody did it because they were learning.
Yeah, sorry. Took me a minute to get reconnected. So yeah, it's weird because it's ostensibly a 3D open world game camera, and when you're in a house, you can go all the way down to the floor, so you're practically looking,
But they don't let you do that
up
in the
at your
overworld.
character. Yeah, when you go out to the overworld, like it's not locked in position. You can look farther down. You just can't look farther up. Like
Yeah.
there's a limit that's ridiculous. And I'm like, why do they do it this way? Crazy. But it hasn't been too detrimental as long as you ignore it.
Yeah.
Most annoying part of the game. Yeah. Okay. Peach says that's annoying to her too, the camera.
Camera is always the most annoying part of like any game.
Mhm.
You know, it's like,
Yeah.
especially if they give you any amount of
They've gotten it
control.
right.
You know, it's like
Mhm.
when you have limited control, it pisses a player off more than anything. If the camera was locked at all times, you'd be like, okay, I've got no control over this. But they give you like a little control. It's never as much as you want. It's like, just give me a free camera and I can look anywhere.
Yeah, it needs to. I mean, this has been figured out on so many other games,
Yeah.
and hopefully they'll fix it. They say they're going to fix it. So
That's what they say.
yeah. Another funny thing is regarding patches with Fantasy Life. I think one of the very earliest patches, apparently, somebody, I guess people were complaining that you could only build one segment of a wall at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And like some items you can build 10 of, some items you can build 99. Walls you could only build one at a time, and you would need like 300 or 400 to, if you wanted to do a lot of walls like in your home base area.
Yeah, it's like the opposite of Animal Crossing's
Mm.
fences, where it's like the only thing that you can build bulk of.
Yeah, so they did a patch to quote unquote fix it, which I believe upped it to 99.
Mm-hmm.
at a time. The problem is they had tuned the crafting to assume that you could only build one at a time. So when you went to build 99, you could raise like 5 levels at a time, depending on
Oh,
where you're at. I was watching this, and they were like, "Yeah, because the experience multiplies by how many, of each thing you
yeah. So
build."
it's like the quickest way to level
Some
that
games
stuff now,
don't
right?
do it that way. Yeah, well, they were like, "Yeah, do 99," and they were showing like at level 50, it brought them up to level like 60 in one shot,
mm.
and then it went to like level 65, and they're like, "Yeah, you can get to like level 99 in 5 minutes." But then they came out with another patch and reduced it down to 10 at a time. So it's like, oh man, I missed my chance. But it's still same experience though. So you can still level fairly fast, but 1/10 as fast as
Yeah.
you could briefly with an earlier patch.
They should have just still let you do the 99 and then just have like diminishing returns if you do it in bulk.
Yeah. It's I don't know how hard that would have been because that's not how any of the other.
Yeah, it would have to be
work,
like a
so.
special like thing just for that.
Yeah. But I thought that was funny because oh my God, there's so many, walkthrough and how to videos out there on YouTube now. And it's like, grind, get to level 99 in 5 minutes. Like, Now they haven't patched out a method of getting like 10 million gold in 5 minutes, which is a crazy amount in that game. So we'll see if they nerf that too. We'll see.
Well, you want to know what else is selling faster than anything else? The Switch 2 has now become the fastest selling home console of all time in less than a week. Where in just like the first 4 days, it sold 3.5 million units.
Oh, was it? Okay. Did I see 10 million then? Thought I saw a nice round number. This is crazy. Maybe I saw a million.
Maybe got more. This was from yesterday, where it said they had sold 3.5 million. So they could have hit 5 by now. Who knows?
Sorry.
But yeah.
Oh yeah. No, we've switched topics.
Oh yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, well, I saw that it was like the fastest selling console, but I can't remember what number I saw at the time.
Yeah. Well, based on that number, Nintendo's already put out a prediction that it will sell 15 million Switch 2 consoles during the business year.
Wow.
Yeah.
When does their business year end? Doesn't it end in
March? Yeah, March of next year.
I was looking to turn on my camera.
Which I think is pretty low. I think they could hit 20.
Yeah, that seems low. You know what's funny is people were complaining about, shortages, and they're like, oh, Nintendo's purposely creating a shortage. Like, no, they're not. They're selling more than any other console has.
Yeah.
So it's like they obviously made more than any other console.
Yeah, and I think they also just underestimated exactly how many they'd need. I think they're close to estimation, but they are moving faster than they expected it to.
Yeah, I don't know that they necessarily underestimated. It was just, we'll build as many as we can, and we know it's going to sell out, and then we'll keep building more. So.
Well, I'm kind of just going off of their words, where they did not think it'd be selling this much.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which is fine.
It'll finally pass the PlayStation 2.
I don't know. Maybe. But I think they were probably expecting it to move like the Switch 1's launch did. And It's obviously moving faster than the Switch 1's launch. Which we're going to now have to refer to as the Switch 1, annoyingly. Yeah, it's...
Background didn't show up there.
mm-hmm. But hey, you know.
Yeah.
They are saying, though, that they're ensuring that they had enough to meet the demand. They just didn't ship enough because they didn't think it'd be selling this much. Nintendo does like to always make a little extra than what they think they're going to need. So they just have to ship more out and continue making more, but it is moving faster than they expected it to move.
Yeah, well, last week we were hearing stories about mistakes on the part of the retailers not, properly keeping the pre-orders. But
Yeah.
it seemed like everyone who had a pre-order managed to get one way or
That's
another.
good.
So it seemed like it.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. That means they're gonna have more games.
Oh, yeah. And they're planning to support a lot of it. Tim suggesting we call it the OG Switch, which I kind of like better than Switch 1, but I don't think anybody's ever going to call it because it's one more syllable than saying Switch 1, and people always go for the thing that is the least amount of syllables.
Yeah.
It's like the PlayStation 1. Everybody calls it the PlayStation 1, even though its name is just the PlayStation. But at this point, because PlayStation is such a branding, if you said the word PlayStation, nobody would know you were talking about the original PlayStation.
Yeah. It's kind of just usually whatever the current PlayStation is.
Yeah. So I do think it's something Nintendo was trying to avoid this whole time. It's like the PlayStation's naming mechanism is good after the second one, right? From like 2 on, it's a good naming mechanism. And thankfully, nobody even really needs to talk about the original much anymore. But anytime you use that like naming mechanism, it does have that problem. It's like, well, the original, whose name was just that, now has to be number 1, right? It's
Yeah.
a very small trade-off, realistically, though. Like, it doesn't hurt the naming mechanism too much. It's just something you have to get used to. It's better than anything Xbox has tried to do.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see if 7 years from now we're talking about a Switch 3 or if they're gonna change the name.
I still say we need to finally get the Ultra Nintendo Entertainment System out. The name's been sitting there for years. Nobody wants to touch it.
Was there something that was supposed to be called the Ultra?
No, they never even intended on the 64 being called that. I'm just saying, like, it was. I think it was one of the what's it called? Potential names for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. There was a bunch of different prefixes or modifiers, adjectives that they wanted to put in front of it, and they decided to put Super there. Ultra was an option. Like, well, that should have just been the next one,
Yeah.
Switch so powerful, it will kill us all. Yes. Fizz thinks it should have been called the Super Switch. It would have been fun to say. I don't know if it would have sold very well, but I do like that because it would fit the original Nintendo naming mechanism where after the NES was the Super NES or Famicom to Super Famicom. I would have liked it. You would have liked it. A bunch of nerds out there would have liked it for historical reasons. Nintendo probably understood that
Super Switch.
it probably would not have done well with the general public.
Really? I don't know. I think that would have been pretty cool.
Yeah, I think all of us would have thought it would be cool. I'm just trying to think, like, the people who bought the SNES would not be the same general public we're talking about now, because way more people play video games than they did back then. And these are the same people who were confused by the Wii U. And by the 3DS. A lot of people thought the 3DS was actually just another DS at first. It took a little while for people to adjust to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're probably right in that they've been primed by the PlayStation to understand that when there's a new number at the end of it, it's a different thing.
Yeah.
So probably a good move.
Tim's also pointing out that the abbreviation would have been SS, which comes with its own problems. So.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah. The thing is, I don't think most people, even if you abbreviate it, I don't think most people would even be thinking about that unless somebody pointed it out to them.
Yeah, it would have been the based switch.
Yeah.
That's a good one, Tim.
Well, keeping on the Switch topic, Capcom seems to agree with a lot of consumers' complaints. Or, I guess Capcom's not complaining, but on a philosophical level, they are agreeing with a lot of consumers' complaints about the game key cards, because Capcom is labeling every purchase of a Switch 2 game key card as a digital sale, because that is what it is. You might be buying a physical memory stick that gets you to the license for the game, but from their end, you're still downloading the game as if you had made a digital purchase.
Pretty much. Whether the download code is in an email or on a fake game cartridge, it seems to me like it's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, it's why, like, I think all PC games have been considered digital sales for a long time. I remember I've brought this up many times where I got Borderlands 2 as the first game that did this to me, where I put the disc in my computer and all it did was boot up Steam and move the license into it on its own, like the license key, and then Steam started downloading it. So there was never any data for Borderlands 2 on the disc that came with the physical copy of Borderlands 2. And that's pretty much what's going on with these game key cards, right? It's just telling the eShop to go download the game for you. And from Capcom's end, they're saying, they're recorded as digital sales. And it's not sure whether other studios are classifying things the same way yet. They probably are going to. Capcom is just the first one to have made it known.
Do you have to have the key card in the Switch to play the game once you've got it installed?
I think so. I'm not sure. That has not been brought to my attention if it's otherwise. But I believe the license itself stays in the card. So you could pass it around between people and just leave the data on the Switch, but you do have to put that game key card back in to play the game. It's like putting the card or the key into your car to turn it on, right?
Yeah, so I guess, I was thinking like, okay, what is there any benefit to this? And yeah, it's at least as portable or, tradable as a physical game.
Yeah.
Right? Because you can just hand someone else, they'd have to install it the first time, but yeah, it's just a weird hybrid.
Yeah.
It has some of the bad things about both digital and physical, and some of the good things about both of them. Very odd.
Yeah, and I don't know if the trade-offs are actually even at the end of the day. Because,
it's hard to...
The benefit to having a physical card is that all of the data for the game, sans DLC or patches that might come later, is on that card, so it doesn't take up space on your internal storage or a micro SD card you might put in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one of the benefits, probably the primary one.
Yeah.
Especially because, 50 years from now, if you've got your Switch 2 and a digital or a physical card, you put the thing in and it works.
Yeah, you can at least play the base version of the game.
Mm-hmm. With this, it's like, okay, if they shut down the servers, you can't download it again. So
You know, I'm
you
wondering
still have
though,
it, great, but
if you could download the whole game as long as somebody has it, right? Because we've talked about this before. The original Switch
is it
has an
peer-to-peer?
option in there, peer-to-peer, where you can get updates and downloads from somebody who has it on their system if you both have the same game, because the license is on your system. So I'm wondering, if you have the key card in a new system, could you get it from the system that you had it in before that has all the updates, or even just the whole game over peer-to-peer? Because it should already be there in the operating system and in the wireless capabilities of the system itself, because it is just an upgraded Switch.
Yeah. That is a good question. I would imagine if they are planning to have that functionality, I doubt it's there yet.
Yeah.
I'm betting right now it all comes from their servers. But
It's okay.
it is a weird, I don't know.
We're also thinking so bleakly about this too. These are basically computers with an external storage, like an SD card that we can load up. We get to the point that the eShop shut down. I don't think anybody's caring about legally downloading games anymore. Right? Like, if the eShop is shut down and I can't re-download the games I purchased, I'm just getting the full game with all the updates and DLCs the other way.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing.
Yeah.
They've been doing this on other systems seemingly for a long time. Like, people have talked about how, the newest version of whatever, Call of Duty, the disc or the whatever it is, it basically has nothing but a program to download the game.
Yeah.
Like, that's been a thing for a long time.
Absolutely. In fact, I think
It's just not with Nintendo.
I don't think Nintendo's going to be using the key cards much for their first-party games. I think they'll have an option, because they did say that some games will have both a traditional physical and key card option. But I think all their games, they're still going to try to make it to where it can fit on a regular physical card.
Yeah.
I think they introduced the
over
key
time-
card primarily for these other developers because they want third-party support. They want everything on the Switch who do not optimize their games, right? And it won't necessarily fit well on their cartridge. And it's like, here you go. You could still be on our system.
Mm-hmm. What is, let me see, maximum storage?
Though I don't know why their cartridges can't have 2 terabytes of storage like they can take for SD cards.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, these micro SDs are so tiny. Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Switch 2 cartridges can only store 64 gigs.
Yeah. Well, you can get up to 2 terabytes as
That's
a micro
insane.
SD.
Yeah, on a thing that's like a fifth or a sixth of the size.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah,
only twice
Joshua
as much as
is
the
here.
Switch 1.
And he says they want to get rid of physical media. Quoting Klaus Schwab, "You will own nothing and be happy."
Well, I'm sure over time they will increase how much can be put on a cartridge.
Probably, yeah.
Because I imagine it would just need a firmware update and new hardware, or new hardware in the cartridge.
Yeah. I mean, they did that on
Like all the
most of the old systems that they did cartridges with, right? Like, if they needed the system to be more powerful in some way, sometimes they would just put stuff in the cartridge itself.
Yeah. They didn't obviously have any means of updating the earlier ones, but I know that the cartridges for like the NES started out very small and gradually increased over time.
Yeah. And in the SNES, sometimes they just straight up put chips in it to make the game more powerful. You know.
Yeah.
So it's not like
Well,
Nintendo's
also in the
against
NES,
just making it have more storage inside of it.
Yeah. Like by the time Super Mario 3 came out, the cartridges could have MMC3
Yeah.
mappers, which is basically a chip that could map the much higher storage, and I guess translate it for the NES to understand.
Yeah.
Apparently, Kirby's Adventure was the largest NES ROM there ever was.
I'm not surprised. It's a
512K.
huge game for its time.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, way to go, Sakurai, but
Yeah.
I think he was like 16 when that game was made or something like that. Like, he started really young.
Yeah,
I mean, we looked it up at one point. He might have been a little bit older, but he always talked about how like he started in the industry when he was like 16. Maybe he was like 18 by the time that came out.
I realize I don't have the chat up. I can't see what people are saying.
Fizzoso asks, will someone eventually make a game with the storytelling of Pokemon and the gameplay of Pal World? I don't know.
And Peach is cleaning. Didn't I clean my room enough for you?
No.
Okay, all right. She's cleaning.
He's like, I've got energy for once. Don't stop me.
I know, really. Seriously.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It's
it's a chat here.
Interesting world we're in now, because Nintendo kind of has been the company that has been holding off on stuff like that, but I guess they can't anymore if they want to have continuous third-party support from all these major developers.
Mm-hmm. Sure, this says eventually we might just sell video games in flash drives. I'm like, well,
We do,
that's technically
basically.
what this is, right?
Well, an
It's just
SD
a
card and these
proprietary-
cartridges, they are all flash memory.
Yeah. That's why I
They're-
don't understand why.
They're just not the,
I mean, I
the
guess this is a
USB
cost.
jump drives that you're used to. That's the only difference.
Yeah. I mean, of course, you can get those. You can get,
Mhm.
you know, a million games on a flash drive. I guess it's just the cost because they don't want to significantly add to the price of the game.
Yeah.
And if they had like a terabyte cartridge, well, they're gonna have to increase the price of the game by like $40 or something.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah. That cartridge is going to cost a lot more, which they might start doing, but on request, right? So like the default cartridge that you could, as a developer, sell your game for $40 if you want, because it's not costing you that much as long as it fits on there, is fine. But if you want to like fit everything on a physical cartridge, yeah, you probably would have to raise the price of buying that game quite a lot.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess that's why they're limiting it to 64 gigs. But I feel like they could do 128 today without too much trouble.
Especially like, man, the cartridge could literally just like, if you opened it up, have a micro SD card inside of it, and it is just like an adapter, you know, like.
Yeah.
And the new micro SD cards are not that expensive. The 2 terabyte ones, sure, but even you go back, you get like a 1 terabyte drops a lot. You get like even just like a 256 gigabyte one, right? Almost any game can fit on a 256 gigabyte SD card, and you could get those for like nothing. They're not that expensive. Just make a card that's effectively just an adapter for an SD card inside of it. Put it in, boom, starts playing.
Yeah. I would think. I'm actually curious to see. Oh, no.
In fact, people will probably start doing that
I
because that's effectively what an R4 was back in the day.
Right. I was looking at a video of like a breakdown where someone opens up a Switch cartridge, and it's
I
not.
imagine it's an
It's
actual
not
board.
a. It's just a tiny board with a
Yeah.
microchip. So, but yeah, you could totally do that. You could make an adapter and get a 2 terabyte thing, and you would just have to somehow have it report to the Switch that it's only 64 gigs, I imagine.
Yeah, or something, yeah. Or like if they made it official and be like devs could do this, then Nintendo could do a firmware update where it doesn't matter.
Yeah. But I think they manufacture these things, right?
Yeah.
Nintendo. So they probably don't want anyone else.
Well,
Just like the
obviously,
olden days.
like you don't want an actual adapter working for your system, because then that opens up for like the R4 to return, and then people are just putting games on their system through a SD card.
Mass piracy. Yeah, it's literally a tiny little black rectangle in there. It's amazing.
Yep.
Well, what other game news is there?
Well, Fizz shows us, is there a gacha, like monster game, like Pokemon game? Kind of dumb not to make one. I think we talked on this. There is going to be one from Hoyo coming out soon called Honkai Nexus Anima. Pokemon has had a few that are kind of like it, but these are still just like more collecting characters and their Pokemon come with it. I don't think there's one that's around catching the Pokemon too much, aside from, I guess Pokemon Go is technically sort of gacha. It isn't really. Outside of the egg system. The egg system is the most it is, and most of the time you know what the egg is unless you picked up a strange egg, where they didn't tell you what its parents were. That's the closest that game actually has. But I don't think there's a full one that actually gives you the Pokemon experience of like running around catching them. To my knowledge, we don't actually know what Honkai Nexus Anima is going to be like. We know you're definitely going to be able to get characters from the Hoyo games, but we don't know if it's going to function like Pokemon Masters or not. They could literally just be like, you equip a trainer or whatever, and they give you like a buff to the whole team or whatever, and you may still have to go and catch the monsters by yourself. All we got was like a 20-second PV. But there's definitely room in that kind of ecosystem for a game like that, and we're starting to see people tackle it. Hoyo said they were going to be making a Pokemon game like 3 or 4 years ago, and they finally showed off that it's going to be coming out within like a year or whatever.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. I was gonna ask ChatGPT if it knows of any. Because Google sure didn't.
Yeah. I mean, I've played a lot of things that mimic the aesthetic of Pokemon, but none of them that really give you the experience. And most of them were from like Chinese devs that don't care about copyright anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, isn't that what gacha games are?
No, not
For the
always.
most part?
There are a lot of Chinese ones, but gacha starts in Japan, and a lot of them actually respected copyright for a long time. And
Oh
China didn't start doing that until like halfway through the life of gacha games. When they saw how much money the Japanese were making. But gacha, even the name, it comes from Japan originally. Now we're just used to it because most of the most successful ones come from China, or South Korea also makes some really popular ones too.
Right.
But since we're talking about Pokemon, Pokemon's doing a collaboration with the Hershey Company that challenges you to collect all 151 of the original Pocket Monsters. Doesn't that sound fun? So, they have this I don't know what they call it, like a box that you can get or whatever that you could put them in, and they will be selling, I think, Hershey's Kisses. Yeah, so they'll be selling Hershey's Kisses, and on the bottom of the kiss is a printed image of one of the original Pokemon, and you can collect all of them and put them inside the box and to show off that you've collected them. Personally, I think you should eat the kiss because that chocolate will go bad eventually, and maybe just put like, I don't know, some foil from the other ones you ate, like the duplicates inside there so it can retain its shape again, and then put it in there. But you can go and eat Hershey's Kisses to your delight until you have all 150 of the Kanto region critters.
Yeah, that's dumb.
It is. But you know what? People do these type of things all the time.
Yeah. See, I'd prefer it if maybe the wrapper, like the foil wrapper, had it on there, but like on the inside, so you wouldn't know until you opened it up.
Yeah, that'd be cool
So
too.
then you can eat the chocolate. Yeah.
Because the chocolate would be a gotcha.
With the wrapper. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing ChatGPT came up with, Fischoza, was Monster Hunter Now for mobile. It said hunting monsters in a real world map, gotcha-ish
I played it.
reward hunts. Oh, really?
Yeah, no, it's just Pokemon Go by Monster Hunter.
There you go. That's exactly what he asked for, right?
No, that's not what he wanted at all. He wants a mobile monster-like game where you can battle other people. Which, for that to be fun, too, kind of has like that classic Pokemon. I assume, actually, Honkai Nexus Anima is probably going to have battling. It might be the very first Hoyo game that has PvP. Or like true PvP to the main game. They've had mini games that are PvP before, but for it to be fun, you need the actual catching element, because if like everybody just has access to a flat version, or sorry, because I was gonna say flat version of the character makes it kind of boring. I guess you could just talk all about team building, but then everybody just takes the most meta teams. If equipment changed them similar, like how they have the equipping system in like Star Rail and everything, if that changed the stats of your characters, then your individual like mons are independent to you. Like their crit rate or whatever won't be the same as your opponents, and maybe they have higher defense than you have. That could make it interesting. So there could still be ways of making it interesting, even if you only got them through the gotcha system. But like I've said before, I'm hoping that you're just collecting trainers and not pairs. And then when you pull the trainer from gotcha, you can go out and actually just catch the monsters. That's what I want. I doubt it'll be the case. I think they're probably just going to go Pokemon Masters, but I'm hopeful. I'm actually willing to hold my breath this time.
Yeah. We'll see. I'm not.
I know.
I have a hard time getting into any Pokemon, even the good Pokemon games.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I think you'll enjoy Coliseum once you get access to it on like the Switch 2 GameCube program.
Yeah.
Because it is more of like a traditional JRPG experience. Not like the run around grinding part necessarily, but that type of like linear storytelling, progression, and stuff like that. That's one where there's like no RNG to the Pokemon stats, because there's only one version of each Pokemon in the game that you can get by defeating trainers that have the Shadow Pokemon. So it is almost still like progressing a character in a traditional RPG in that way too.
Yeah, I have a feeling, if I were to buy a Switch 2 now, I'd probably have the most fun with the GameCube emulators.
Probably
a whole lot of games.
Well, so they even kind of came out and said it too, that the whole reason Donkey Kong was pushed back was as like a preventative to scalpers. Now, I don't know if that was like an effective, choice, but that was the reason. It's like, we staggered them so that people could get their Switches, then their game, Hopefully, Mario Kart World will hold people over until then, because it's still only like a couple of weeks away from each other. And then World will be a game that they support throughout the entire lifetime of the system.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, frankly, they've been supporting Mario Kart 8 throughout the lifetime of the Wii U and the Switch.
Yeah, with a hiatus. There was a gap where they didn't do it, but they definitely came back and they started giving more than anybody expected them to do.
Yeah, because it sold like ridiculously on the Switch. It was just like, oh my God, what, people had been seriously wanting to play it, but didn't have a Wii U. So
yeah, there's some fan theories out there right now that they will actually start releasing content based on games that are connected to like Mario and stuff throughout the lifetime of it. Because right now there's a big lack of Donkey Kong related stuff in the game, even though that Donkey Kong Diddy are available to play. And people are thinking like, oh, well, maybe like the first DLC or the first update or whatever is going to be Donkey Kong related, coinciding for when the game launches.
Yeah, is that Donkey Kong game? That's not out yet, right?
No, it comes out first week of next month.
Oh, okay. Yeah, someone was saying so. There is basically one launch title. Right?
Yeah.
Well, I guess
that's it.
Leaning on their back catalog.
Yeah. Well, one Nintendo launch title. There's some stuff from other third-party people that are available at launch, but yeah, that's it. If you want a Nintendo game on your Nintendo console, you've got Mario Kart World. That's it.
Yeah.
But, like the GameCube
fun,
is available right away. It doesn't have a lot of the games people are looking for yet. I think only 4 games came out with it. Like the one we just mentioned, Pokemon Coliseum, is not at launch. That's probably going to come closer to the holiday season.
Oh, well, what are you talking about? You almost had me running out to get
No. I thought we already mentioned too that was coming later.
I'm sure we did. I can't remember.
Well, hey, Fizz, you're in luck. Actually, that was the next topic we were going to get to. He said, I'm surprised Nintendo hasn't made Splatoon spinoffs. So this was actually the announcement that killed people's hope that there would be a June Nintendo Direct, because out of the blue, just on Splatoon's Twitter profile, and I guess maybe there are other pages across social media, I just don't follow them everywhere, they announced Splatoon Raiders, which is going to be the first spinoff of the Splatoon franchise, where I'm trying to remember his name, is one of the characters from Splatoon 3. He's what's his name? I have to scroll up. I have to go to the person I was talking to about this, where I dropped the screenshots. Where's my brother's DMs? That's why I DM things to people, so I don't have to remember things. Yeah, so you will be a mechanic adventuring with Deep Cut, who is from Splatoon 3, to the mysterious Spiralite. I think that's how you say that name, Spiralite Islands. And that's it. They showed some pictures of it. They show some of the characters sitting on what kind of looks like a dock with like a crane and everything. Walking through the island, a huge tornado just kind of like covering up something in the background. And that's it. That's all we know. It's probably going to be a single player adventure game from the looks of it. And I'm actually kind of excited. I think I told you that at this point, I'm more excited to play a single player thing that exists in the Splatoon world than I am to play another multiplayer Splatoon game. Because I really like the world and the lore and the history, and that was like the stuff that gets into it, especially when they started bringing things from their last Ice Age. Like, it's a cool world with a lot of cool ideas and even mechanics, but I think I even enjoyed the single-player campaigns from the games more than I enjoyed playing the multiplayer with people.
Yeah. So, okay. I couldn't remember who Deep Cut was, and then I realized, oh, it's all three of them.
Yeah.
The two girls and the manta
It's
ray or
the name
whatever.
of the group of the announcer moderator guys that did all the
Yeah.
what are they called that you do all the time? The I cannot remember their name. The voting competition thing. Where Splatfest. That's it.
Oh,
They hosted the
Splatfest,
Splatfests. It was it eventually landed,
Yep.
but it was like floating out there. I couldn't grab it.
Mm-hmm.
But we have no other news about
It
this yet.
looks like-
I'm just excited.
Well, Splatoon news. Apparently, there is a free update today for Splatoon 3. As there have been on many occasions, with new weapons based on previous weapons, apparently. And let's see, a returning stage from the original Splatoon game on Wii U called Urchin Underpass
Oh, that's cool.
was added to the rotation today. Yeah.
And I'm glad to see them supporting that series, but especially at getting spin-offs, because as far as we know, Splatoon might be the last new idea that we're going to get from Miyamoto. Not like he hasn't had new ideas for things to add to other things he worked on, but as far as like a new property with a new world and sets of characters, that is the most recent one he made, and we don't know if he's ever going to make another one before he retires. And so it's really cool to see that they're continuing that.
Yeah. I don't think ARMS is going to take off like they hoped.
Yeah. I don't either. I don't think we're getting a sequel to ARMS.
Seems like, yeah, that was a one and done, I think.
We already talked about the Game Freak Hack and Slash Fizz that was at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
You can go back and catch it later.
Atlas has announced the Persona 4 remake.
Yeah.
That's interesting
Yeah.
for people who like Persona 4.
I like Persona 4. I don't know if I want a Persona 4 remake. I think I just want a port. You know?
Yeah. We want a remaster, not a remake.
Yeah. I don't even want a full remaster. You could even leave the models as old as they were. Maybe Persona 4 is not that old of a game. I mean, I guess it kind of is. But still, it's not that old. Just put HDR on it and we're probably good.
Yeah. Just make it a 2D, an HD 2D game.
Oh, that would actually be really interesting.
It's the only way you're going to get me to play it.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Persona's actually pretty good. You'd probably like them, except for one thing. The thing that would turn you off, and that's you'd probably like the older Personas more than the newer ones for this reason. You probably just would not give a shit about the social link whatsoever. And I think we've talked about this too, which is where you kind of go on dates with the other characters. They're not all. I guess technically, if you go out with a guy, it's still a date. It's just not a romantic one, right? We used to call them mandates. Set in stone as a mandate from heaven. Yeah, and you get bonuses and unlock things from going on the social links with them, all visual novel style. The older games, it's not as impactful. Like, you still kind of get stuff from it, but you could beat the game, like, with just ignoring the social links in the older ones. Like, 3 is where it starts to get a little tippy, but 4 and 5, you're going to struggle to beat the game if you're not actually doing your social link in 4 and 5, so... I don't know. Like, you could probably enjoy 3, but if they did a full remaster of 1 and 2, you'd probably like those a lot more.
Yeah, probably.
Because otherwise, they're just turn-based RPGs with a party.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't realize this. Stellar Blade
It's doing great.
Just launched on PC.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a headline: Stellar Blade PC launch breaks Steam sales records thanks to its thirsty fan base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It and the Nikkei DLC was all like it came out at the same time, right? They put it basically everywhere else too, but I think they were waiting for the PC launch to line up for people to play the Nikkei DLC.
Wow.
And the Stellar Blade Nikkei Goddess of Victory collab in Nikkei is going on at the same time, which kind of adds fuel to my theory that the only reason they waited so long to do the collab is because of PlayStation's restrictions for the character. Like, they could have done the Nikkei going to Stellar Blade earlier. I think the beginning of that stuff kind of started in February. But the other way around, Eve was locked to PlayStation systems until then. So now Eve can go to Nikkei as well, and they kind of have both things going on at the same time. I haven't pulled her. Well, I've pulled for her. I haven't gotten her yet. I probably will very soon, though. You know my luck.
I have not pulled for her. I swear. I promise. Just saying.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people have in other ways. Yeah. This is why would I care about Stellar Blade? From what I've seen, the gameplay isn't even good. That's personal taste. To me, I think the combat actually looks pretty fun. It's going to be each their own. It's not Souls-like combat, even though a lot of people try to say it is. It's a lot faster paced hack and slash, but it still has that like open world exploration and puzzle solving stuff. Like I wouldn't put it all the way with old God of War and Devil May Cry. It's probably closer to modern God of War.
Yeah. Here's the way I see it. If a game comes out that, isn't like utter shit, you're wondering, okay, I really don't know. Is this going to be a good game? Is it not? If it comes out and it has genuinely beautiful characters like Stellar Blade does, where and it annoys the crap out of frankly non-gamers, but gamers love it. The way I see it, okay, this company is interested in making this game a good experience for gamers, like one way or another. So I'm betting the gameplay is good too.
Well,
I'm betting
I've got a
they
different
hired
perspective.
good developers, and I mean, I maybe could be right, could be wrong, but it's like that's my initial
Well, I don't think
assumption before I
you're
see
entirely wrong. I think I'm just same thing, but I'm looking at it from the other direction. I think the reason this stuff is good is because the developers are actually gamers, right? So they want to make a game that they would have fun with, and they know if they have fun playing the game, that there's going to be plenty of other people out there that will too. Like the biggest fan of this game is the guy who owns Shift Up. I don't think there's a single person that's a bigger fan of it, or Eve either. Like the biggest fan of Eve is that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's. I am kind of treating this like an what do you call it, a foil or an opposite of the other side, which is almost guaranteed to always hold true, which is that if the characters are really super off-putting in an obvious way, or you can't even tell if an important character is a man or a woman because it's just an ambiguous blob, then you know that they are consciously putting effort into things other than making the game good. And so might as well skip it.
Yeah, and I don't think that has to always be the case. It's just those are the trends we're seeing, right? And it's because of the same type of people are making these games. Because you could totally see somebody who wants to make a fun game where the whole point or everything could involve characters being blobby or whatever. But if it's made by like an old school developer, they're going to find a way to make that fun and engage you that way. It's just like we keep seeing the same type of people working on this stuff all the time. That is like one of many red flags that tells you the game is going to be crap before you even jump into it.
Yeah, that's a better way to put it. It's a red flag.
Yeah. Joshua even says
Oh,
it's the
yeah,
number
I
one
see
game
Stellar
on
Blade.
Steam right now and Sony's highest selling game on Steam, period. It's not woke. Yeah, that'll do it too. That's the other thing is the red flag that you were just saying is like that kind of woke red flag. And it's like, yeah, that's the biggest red flag. If the developers are woke, most of them probably don't even like video games. They're trying to like do something with the game other than making a fun game, right?
Right. Yeah. They had just had a peak of 185 or almost 184,000 concurrent players. Did you see this Mind's Eye 2 that I'd never even heard of?
Nah, I mean, I think I saw an article mention its name, and that's the most I've ever heard of it.
Yeah, it's a AAA game, and it looks like it has peaked at about 5,000 players.
Mm.
And guess what? They're blaming YouTubers and gamers.
Yeah.
Like, all right, cry me a river. It's all going out of business. Apparently, it cost $300 million to make. I'd never even heard of it.
Yeah.
Before today.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I see what
how about
this Joseph's
advertising?
saying.
I've never heard of it.
Right, where he says, like, I don't care if the MC of a game is ugly, if they're male or female, only care if the gameplay and story is good. And for the most part, that's where I am. I'm just saying, like, in the modern day, when you see intentionally ugly characters like that, it's a red flag to where you know the other stuff isn't going to be good. If this was back in the 90s,
Yeah, that's the thing.
or even the early aughts, that red flag wasn't there. Like, I wouldn't care. Because, honestly, what matters the most is gameplay in any game. But that's just not the environment we're in anymore.
Yeah, that's why you should care, because these things are linked.
Yeah. Well, like in the 90s, there was, and even like the early aughts, there were plenty of like ugly games that were fun. Like, you didn't even care at all. You're just having a good time blowing shit up or whatever the game wanted you to do.
Yeah. But at the same time, they also did their best to make the characters appealing. So something to be said for that.
In some way or form. Right. Like, sometimes you make something more cartoony to make up from the fact that the character would be ugly otherwise. Like, if Earthworm Jim wasn't a cartoon, he would be one of the most revolting characters ever. But he's fun. He's in Doug Tenapel's style, and who doesn't like Earthworm Jim?
Yeah.
It's also why stylization, I think, is better than realism every single time, because you can have good-looking, ugly characters when you stylize, if that makes sense. You go like the cartoonist's route.
Yeah, and like both of us said, it's just a red flag. It's not a guarantee. The characters in what's it called? What is that crappy little game that they like updated with new chapters for the Switch 2? With like line drawn characters.
Line-drawn characters.
You have no idea what I'm talking about.
No.
Incredibly, I'm looking it up because I know I have it on Steam. Incredibly popular little indie game with like characters that are just lines and stuff. It's mostly text.
I don't know. That sounds like that could be so many different things,
No, it can only be one game. I keep it's like 4 letters. It's like Dune or Cube or
I don't know if I know this game. Either I don't know it or you're explaining it in a way that I'm not going to pick up on it.
I know I have it on Steam. It has like different chapters, and they just came out with like chapters 3 and 4. Deltarune.
That sounds completely different than anything you explained. Yes, I'm familiar with Deltarune. I have some stuff to talk about Deltarune today.
Yeah.
They're sprites. There's lines.
Well, maybe I'm thinking of a different game. I don't know.
Yeah, no, Deltarune is sprite based. In combat, because it is a turn-based RPG, but there's action, I guess, involvement in combat. You turn into your heart because they attack like your soul directly.
Yeah.
And then, so all the attacks are like the hearts in a box, and you have to avoid stuff. But no, they're like full sprite-based.
Undertale. That's what I was thinking of. Undertale.
And Undertale was also sprite-based. They have like the same aesthetic.
Okay.
Yeah. Deltarune's like a direct follow-up to Undertale. In fact, the name is an anagram for the other one. They use all the same letters.
Yeah. No, but with Undertale, it's just like black and white and blood.
Oh, yeah.
It's
For the
like
most
a
part.
guy, it's a skull. And, yeah. Anyway,
You're thinking of
I don't
Sans.
know what I'm talking.
Yeah. Yeah, well, no, it's a bunch
Am
of
I?
sprites. And they have like their overworld sprites. They'll have like an actual battle sprite. The overworld's colorful. The battles will be mostly black and white, maybe with a splash of color here and there.
Yeah.
And in that one, you don't have character sprites in battle. The only thing that ever shows up, because it's got like that Earthbound or like Dragon Quest 1 style view, old wizardry view, where the characters are not on the field at all. And the one character you play will be a heart in a box as you get attacked. Deltarune, because there's a party, it actually has more of that Final Fantasy style setup where the monsters or enemies are on one side, your characters on another. The heart will still show up during attacks, but your characters will be on the field at the time.
Well, my point was that Deltarune looks like pretty shitty graphics to me.
Oh, I love
but
the way
it's
it looks.
supposedly a pretty awesome game.
But a lot of the design, it's like Stardew in a way, right? It's an intentional artistic direction, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it's a good game. It's a very odd game on purpose. But it's a game that I think you might be able to call it progressive without being woke. Like I don't think it goes all the way that far, but it definitely has a progressive bent to it. Even the first game did.
Yeah.
And it's a
too
fun
old
game.
to be woke.
I think it's because Toby's not insane. I think that's the real thing. Like he's a sane person, and it explores the boundaries between things. It even explores meta stuff about the game, where like the original, you could do a pacifist route. You could do like a genocide route or whatever, where you could spare people in battle instead of killing them. And if you do a genocide route, you kind of have to uninstall the game and delete all your cache and reinstall it, because from that point on, the game remembers that in one of your lives you genocided everybody. Right? It's a very an Undertale. It's very metatextual in like a Doki Doki Literature Club kind of way.
Interesting.
Like Sans remembers. The only way you can fight Sans is if you kill literally everyone else in the world. He's like the end boss. It's like your genocide route. Now you have to fight me, the chillest guy you actually managed to piss off.
Well, that sounds interesting.
Yeah. And Joshua thinks you were describing battles. Probably. You probably were describing the battles itself. You see a lot more just like lines and stuff in there.
I guess so, yeah. I mean, I've never played it, so I've seen screenshots and brief little flashes of it, and I'm like, oh, I mean, obviously it's a great game, but I'm just like, they obviously didn't put much effort into the graphics, but that wasn't the point.
Yeah, yeah.
But I could be wrong because that's all I've seen.
No, it's like I said, it's a very intentional artistic direction. There's a little more effort in the world you're exploring, as Joshua even says. Graphics look different in battle than when you're exploring, but it looks like it's an NES era game, like an 8-bit style, right? So even in the overworld, there's not that many colors. Yeah. The sprites and everything aren't that detailed, but there's like a what's it called? Almost like a symphony. It all blends together. It all looks like it belongs. The music is great.
Yeah,
that's actually probably the best part of both games is Toby Fox's soundtrack, to the point that like people have hired him to do other things outside of his games. He's done stuff for Pokemon. That game, Little Town Hero by Game Freak we talked about earlier, Toby Fox did the entire soundtrack for that game. He's even done some stuff for Super Smash Brothers as well. I think he's much better at making music than anything else, but the game is still pretty good. And I think people can have a fun experience playing the game. That's why it's as popular as it is. And Deltarune is doing great right now. And I think the rest of the game so far has been good. I haven't played it myself. Maybe one day I will. But I've been watching number one Marmaduke fan play through it. And he's been having a good time.
Oh. Well, did they come out with chapters 3 and 4?
Yeah. They launched at the same time on like the day the Switch came out, the Switch 2.
Okay. So that's sort of a launch title.
Yeah, sort of. Now, you could get it everywhere else too, but hey, it's a big hyped game everybody's been waiting for, so.
Yeah. It's a launch update that, yeah, everyone's waiting for like 10 years or something ridiculous. Seems like.
Yeah.
Ended.
There was a
Deltarune.
fun little thing that went on. So there's an Among Us reference in Deltarune in Chapter 4. And the Among Us team had that pointed out to them. And they on Twitter, they did like a whole thing. It's like, oh, cool, Among Us is in Deltarune. Immediately afterwards, Toby Fox like typed up like almost like a fake patch notes sheet to put on as like patch notes for Deltarune 1.0.4 or whatever. Remove Among Us. That's the only thing in the patch notes.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess there wasn't too much more of a gap. There's, I guess, Chapter 1 came out in 2018, Chapter 2 in 2021, and then 3 and 4, obviously, last week.
Yep. So there's only one more chapter left, I believe, because there were supposed to be 5 from the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think it's
for the
older
Switch 3.
than it is too, just because it is kind of a follow-up to Undertale, and Undertale came back out in like, what, 2016 or something like that. I don't remember. That one's pretty old at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, this is interesting. Chapter 5 is currently expected to be released next year.
Cool. I know 3 could have been out already, but due to agreements and stuff like that and wanting to fine-tune it, that's why they agreed that 3 and 4 was going to come out with the Switch 2 launch.
Yeah. Undertale was released September 15th, 2015, 10 years ago.
Okay. Close to 2016 is probably why it still feels like it to me.
Yeah. Yeah, these games seem very, very old.
Yeah. Hey, one of I think we talked about this. I'm waiting for the ability to play it, but like a predecessor to Undertale, different creators, but it's one of the older games that inspired all of those kind of weird metatextual, the puzzle's not what it looks like type thing was off. and Off after like well over a decade is getting a physical release and an update for the first time ever, like almost DLC edition, with its big like modern console release, and that's pretty exciting. Especially having an official English release too, because up to this point, all you could do is get a translation of the original French release for free on the internet. But it's cool to have official releases.
That's a weird game to come out with a physical release. Is it what's that company that does those kinds of things?
Like Limited Run?
Limited Run Games, yeah.
I don't remember which one it is. It's one of those companies. Because there's some competitors too, but it might be Limited Run.
Oh, right. This was that other one, I think. I think it was the other, their main competitor.
Yeah, I can't remember the names of all of them. I've got them like bookmarked, I think, but problem with having something bookmarked is you still have to remember the beginning of the name for it to autocomplete in your browser.
Yeah, really.
Let's see. Joseph asks, is anybody other than me asking for a proper Evolution game? I don't know what you mean by that. You have to be more specific.
I think he's talking about like Spawn.
Spore?
Sort of Evolution game. Spore, whatever.
There's a live service Evolution game that you could start for free right now that I learned of from Tierzoo because he's helping them with it. And it is called From Cell to Singularity. You can get it on Steam. I don't know if your computer can handle it, but it seems pretty low requirements. Like my computer doesn't stutter or anything playing it. Like I think maybe a lot of older rigs might be able to. The graphic quality doesn't seem good enough to require anything extreme, but I don't know. You have to look into it.
Yeah. Off is, it looks like it's being published. The physical copy is published by Fangamer.
Okay. I don't think that is the one I knew.
It's actually, oh yeah, I remember looking these guys up. They're a video game merchandise company based in Tucson, Arizona.
Yeah, okay. I think you told me about this before, yeah.
Yeah, and they have a lot of stuff around Undertale and Stardew Valley.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe, yeah, they published physical versions of Tunic and Celeste. I know that's popular. And I believe they're doing Off.
Yeah, there's another one that I can't remember the name that was really big, and I think that one that I'm thinking of is like the direct, like largest competitor to Limited Run Games, and I think we heard about it because they were doing Cult of the Lamb or whatever, but I just can't remember their names. Apparently, Fly Fox has been playing Dwarf Fortress, and Fizzjoes is also playing KOTOR 2. Hey, I love KOTOR. Knights of the Old Republic is a great game.
Man, I haven't even seen that in so long, let alone played KOTOR. Hey, KOTOR 1 or 2?
Now, he's on playing 2, but I've played both.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking the original. Yeah, there's a few physical game publishers around, doing sort of indie and retro games. Fangamer, I Am 8-Bit, Red Art Games.
I think I Am 8-Bit's the one I was thinking of.
Super Rare, that's another one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Well,
of course, Limited Run Games, who I do not purchase from anymore.
I don't either. Like, maybe I'd consider it if it was, like, the only way to get something, but after that, community manager and everything.
Yeah, after they fired their community manager, right?
Yeah, for,
who now works
kind of based.
for Riververse. Yeah. That works for Rippaverse.
Yeah, yeah.
Very nice.
There was a
Well,
couple other things, some
I,
short things, because we're at the end, and I wanted to
Okay.
maybe I could just speed through them, unless you had something you wanted to say real quick.
I just wanted to say before we do end, I apologize again for my voice. I'm still healing and possibly my brain because I feel like I've forgotten a lot of things and
That brain
feel a little
fog,
tongue-tied today. But
dude. I
I
felt
think I just
brain
didn't get enough
fog
sleep like the last.
earlier today. Honestly, maybe I wasn't getting enough sleep either. Like I wanted to do something, and I wandered back into my room and like, why did I come in here?
Yeah, I've been a little out of it tonight, but
You know,
I'll
But,
get sleep over the
yeah.
weekend. We'll be fine on Monday.
should be. You know what? I might end up doing another stream later tonight for all I know. Who knows?
Cool.
But we'll find out. Quick things. Maybe I'll just speed through them so that we're not spending too much time on here. Haunted Chocolatier, by the creator of Stardew Valley, has said that the world of it is going to be larger than Stardew Valley's world, which is kind of exciting.
Could have guessed that.
Yeah. Sega has confirmed that they will be putting new characters every single month into Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, which I don't know if that's going to save them. The game is super expensive for what I've seen. I think they're going to be charging like $90 for the game or something like that from what the previous look.
I think they have like a deluxe edition for like $200.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. Crazy.
Yeah, so it's but they're Persona 5 characters, Hatsune Miku, like it's Sonic stuff. They're going to obviously put in a bunch of Sonic stuff. But you're going to see all kinds of stuff that are just at Sega end up in that game, kind of like Sonic Racing Transformed or whatever. We might see Monkey Ball characters, other Shin Megami Tensei character. Who knows what is going to show up? Joe from whatever the Shinobi. We might see the Shinobi show up. It's Crazy Taxi.
Okay.
Who knows? There's one other big thing. Oh, Silent Hill remake is coming. Like the original Silent Hill is getting a remake by Bloober Team, which is the same studio that's doing the 2 remakes. So that could be fun. I don't know. Joshua says the normal version $70. From what I saw, it looked bigger, but I might have been seeing like the starter pack version for all I know. So it could be just 70. But yeah, I don't know. Silent Hill 2 remake kind of looks like they're changing too much stuff. So, I don't know if I'm excited about a Silent Hill 1 remake. And there was an announcement for Resident Evil Requiem.
Okay.
Which is Resident Evil 9, which we a lot of people have been waiting for. With the biggest, most important thing.
Did they ever do the one redo the one that was in Africa?
5? No.
5, yeah.
But 5 is still
When they
readily
remake
available
5?
on most systems.
So this is 9.
This is 9.
8 was the village, right?
8 was Village. This is now called Requiem. And the most important thing, because it's what everybody asked for 8, and they had to add it as DLC, like in the DLC updates. Third person will be an option available at start, so you don't have to play the game in first person. And also, unlike Village, you can switch between first and third person at any time just by going to the menu. You don't have to save, quit, and reload to the title screen.
Oh my God, a feature that dozens, hundreds of games have had for 20 years or more.
Yeah. Which, I mean, Resident Evil's always been third person up until 7, and a lot of people just still want to play Resident Evil in third person. Can you blame them? No, because I'm one of those people.
I mean, you want to see the character, right? I mean, you're not playing yourself, you're playing a character.
Well, it's also, it's like the point of view that you're used to from playing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Joshua says that was the version that includes all the DLC for $90. That's not as bad. I've seen it framed poorly. Thank you for
people-
correcting that. Because 70, that's going to be what games cost. Okay, $70 to $80. We're just gonna have to get used to that from AAA. Though that doesn't mean all games will be like that. Look at Clear Obscure. We might start getting more $40 to $50 games from smaller studios. We might start seeing the death of AAA, and man, will I'll be happy if that's the case. Or they'll correct. One of the two.
It's so funny seeing people online like, really complaining about $80 games, and I'm like, why are you people so old? I mean, yeah, I don't like it either, but I'm like, there's been inflation for the whole 48 years of my life, so I just kind of it is what it is.
Well, I haven't actually complained. I've been with you saying, like, if that's what the game has to cost, is what it has to cost. My complaints, and I believe yours have been too, have always been at, why is the studio spending so much money that it has to cost that? Right. Obviously, it's a budgetary problem on what they need for their ROI, because you can look at something like Clear Obscure and they spend less money.
Yeah, we'll catch up to the whole inflation thing because, the problem was it happened too fast, and people's income didn't, go up, and now we're back to what I would say is pretty normal in terms of income's going up faster than inflation. Finally, again, give it a few years, and $80 will seem fine.
Yeah, but you know what? I would also still totally love to see more smaller studios just compete directly like that. Like, if you can make a $50 game and it's more fun than that AAA $90 game that might come out, why would I pay for the $90 when I could get the more fun $50 one, right?
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I haven't bought a AAA game. I mean, is Elden
At least
Ring,
not
I
new.
guess, maybe a AAA.
Technically,
Yeah,
everything from Nintendo is.
Okay, other than Nintendo, I have no interest in fucking AAA games. I just, because they're horrible. They spend $300 million and they're shit. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, yeah, complain all you want about those 80 games.
Yeah, my complaint's just their budgets, right? It's like, hey, make a better game for less,
Yeah. But, Breath of the Wild was what, 70 when it came out in 2007?
What? No.
Was
it? No, Tears of the Kingdom.
2017.
Tears of the Kingdom was 70. Breath of the Wild was still the $60 price.
Okay, well, 60 was a lot at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, especially given that
2017, that's what I meant.
Well, like a lot of Wii U games and stuff were still you could get some that were 50. DS games were still like $45 to 50.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was Tears of the Kingdom that hit 70.
Easily worth it. Right. Frankly, I know people don't like it as much, but I think that was worth 70.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't know if any certainly no Ubisoft game is worth that at all.
No, I can't even think of one at all. I mean, maybe if they had competent people bring back Rayman and it was like a long, stellar Rayman experience, maybe I'd pay for that, but nothing they got going on right now.
Yeah.
And, Joshua says people were using the price in UK or Canada. Probably was what I saw. Yeah, because it was like a weird number. I saw like $93, not something exact. It was probably people just posting the UK price.
Yeah, and somebody the other day replied to me about something about that and saying, "Oh, well, games are $100 here in Australia." I looked it up; it's $65. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, you got to do your exchange.
You know how much cigarettes are because they're. A carton of cigarettes is way more than $100. Let me tell you, in Australia.
Yeah. Well,
complainers.
That's the show. Thank you guys for showing up, having a good time. If you liked it, share it out. And if you really liked it and you want to go one step beyond, you always give a donation to streamlabs.com/Vomitorium Live. Really helps us out. And we'll see you no later than Monday. We got a movie night in the Discord. We're going to be watching Pippi Longstocking on Saturday. But like I said, I don't know. I might get bored. I might go for a walk or whatever after dinner and I might stream again. Something. Who knows? We'll see you guys later.
Yeah. See ya.